Hello everyone, welcome to the NFL 10 week review. We sum up every single game with just 3 words and then we give you a bit of details. First of all, I usually do this at the end of the video. If you could leave a like, if you could leave a share, if you could leave a comment, it will help me tremendously since this channel is starting. It's definitely hugely helpful. So thank you very much for anything you do. And now enjoy and listen and watch, because I try to give you something to look at as well. Though, as you can see, I'm using GMaty. I'm not going to hide it. So sometimes the spelling is not the best. Okay, we start with Thursday Night Football between Ravens and the Bengals. To me, this game can be summed up in 3 words. Can anyone defend? Because both these teams struggle tremendously in terms of their defense. And truth to be told, the first game was an absolute fest of great quarterback performances. It went to overtime. We've seen 70 points. I would not be surprised if we see that again. Though, obviously, there are some reasons why we might not. T. Higgins is questionable whether he's going to play. The defense is slightly better, I think, than they were last time, specifically Bengals defense, and I think even Ravens defense is getting better because it's getting healthier, though they lost Michael Pierce, which is kind of a big issue, I think. So yeah, to me, this is really Lamar Jackson on one side, Joe Burrow on the other side. Perhaps 2 best playing QBs this season. I would definitely say that Lamar plays the best, but Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, I think you can definitely Jason Daniels into the mix. You can definitely do with Patrick Mahomes. But man, this is absolute pleasure to watch these guys, watch these offenses, completely different offenses. And I think it should be the first showing of Khalil Herbert in the Bengals uniform, which I'm actually really like that signing for the trade for 7th round. You essentially wasting nothing to get him, and I think he's actually a guy that can help and can be the sneaky signing that if Bengals actually make a noise and get to the playoffs and make a noise there, I think this signing could be one that helps them quite nicely. I really think that highly of Khalil Herbert, though he's obviously no superstar running back. Now we go to German game on Sunday. To me, Oktoberfest. Though it's not October anymore, but there is still some remains of Oktoberfest, kebab and bratwurst. What am I saying? Well, something you enjoy more than this game. This is not a good game that München for you. For me, it's München is getting. What you want to be excited about? Okay, Bryce Young had quite a nice game last one against the Saints. Giants have some interesting young players that actually kind of made a good draft this season based on the player performance. But overall, we are talking about bottom 5, bottom 7 teams in NFL facing each other across the ocean. That's not really the article that you want to present to the world. This is what we have to offer. It seems like Thursday night games and overseas games kind of have similar level of quality, though tonight's Thursday night game is an absolute pleasure, or should be. Then we move to usual NFL Sunday, and we start with Bears versus Patriots. To me, 1, 2, 3. Caleb already faced Jaden Daniels, aka number 1 versus number 2 pick this week. It probably, hopefully, should be Caleb versus Drake May. And yeah, that's the most exciting thing about this game. Patriots doesn't give me too much reason to be excited apart from Drake May. And Bears, last 2 weeks, they were absolutely dreadful. 55 minutes against the Commanders, though they lost to the Hail Mary, but they should have not been in that game at that point of the time. And last week against Cardinals, they just, that was a stinker. And it seems like they are going to fire Matt Eberflus, hopefully, at the end of the season. I don't think he's the solution, though the defense is playing really well. But I guess it's really hard to get a really good offensive coordinator if he's not the head coach for your team, because a lot of hires, I would say, apart from Cliff Kingsbury, are not working. Like those hires that, this guy is probably not head coach material, but he should be a good offensive coordinator. Apart from Cliff Kingsbury, I don't think it's working pretty much anywhere in the league. So I would say if you want to get really good OC, it's coming with let's say Matt Eberflus, which overall is definitely a trade or a move I would go for. And there is some sort of new scenario in which Ben Johnson goes from Lions to here and takes over as OC and head coach, and you can hire either Robert Saleh, you can hire Dennis Allen as your DC, and you are in a fucking business. Colts versus Bills, to me, gunslingers tuning down. On one side, it's Joe Flacco tuning down his production because that change, the Colts benching Anthony Richardson for Joe Flacco and Joe Flacco then putting up 6 points against Vikings. It's just, that's. What do I need to say? That's just not good enough. I like Joe Flacco, I like the story, but it just doesn't make sense for Colts, and I didn't really like that move for them. Even the signing of Joe Flacco, I wasn't happy about it, because this year for the Colts, you are not ready to be a contender. You are just not. So you need to evaluate Anthony Richardson, and benching him for Joe Flacco because Joe Flacco probably gives you a better chance of winning is just a bad move in the long run. Especially when it seems like locker room is definitely behind Anthony Richardson. Not that they are not behind Flacco, but it's not they are done with him. The locker room just ain't buying. Daniel Jones and Patriots, but as well as there's huge tension. Probably even with Kenny Pickett and Steelers. So I didn't like the benching, and Joe Flacco just tuning down his production, and on the other side, Josh Allen tuning down his mistakes. Boy, oh boy, it's so much fun to watch Josh Allen in this offense. I did not see this level of production from this offense. I thought they would be still good, and that actually trading away Stephon Diggs would be a beneficiary for them, or not a huge issue, because it allows them to play differently, in my opinion. Kind of everybody gets to eat mentality, and Josh actually being the main star all the freaking time, in terms of he is the guy, but he doesn't need to be the guy. You know what I mean? With Stephon, he always needs to be a guy. So to me, two different stories, but both is we know these guys can really throw it down the field, can go and make a lot of nice throws, a lot of mistakes, and I think with Joe Flacco, production is just not there anymore, or not there anymore. It's tuning down, and with Josh Allen, he's tuning down mistakes, and he definitely, just stamping on he is an elite starter in this league, and it just you cannot make me think otherwise. Jaguars versus Vikings, one of the cases where ChatGPT just cannot spell correctly. I really tried. So it should be Vikings domesticate cats. I think that this is more of a, I'd say, imagine old Viking and dangerous cat that looks dangerous, but I do trust a Viking to be able to domesticate and make it just let's say a cuddly cat that just you can it's still a dangerous animal, as Jacksonville showed against Eagles. It still can bite, but overall it's just it can bite you a little bit. It can be unpleasant, but overall you have a superior power. So that's just how this matchup feels. And Jacksonville are a frisky team. They are definitely the best team with their record, but the record sucks, and their season is just probably over. They have a tough schedule, and despite them not playing up to their record, they are playing better than that. It's just dude, you are making so many stupid mistakes. Muffed punts. You actually have a winning drive. You are forcing the ball to be intercepted. 2 minutes on the clock. You don't need to do that. It's also bad management, in my opinion. Why do you go for touchdown immediately? You don't want to leave like minutes on the clock when it's like you have like 3.8, 2.8, whatever. Just not the smart decision in my opinion, and like there's just not like any shining star I think in this team, and it's like a lot of good, a lot of meh, and that's the result we are getting. Chiefs versus Broncos, to me, both get picks. So from the start of the season, we kind of nicknamed Bo Nix to Bo Picks. Definitely tune it down a little bit down the stretch. But against this defense, against Pack's defense, which is actually the story for the Chiefs, it's not Mahomes-led offense. That's why he's the part of this this topic, because I think he has interception in every single game this season, which is like crazy, crazy stuff for Patrick. I think it's likely that both will get picked in this game. But overall, like we predicted or we said that it's likely that Ravens will run up the points on the Broncos last week. They did. And this also feel like just a talent mismatch for the Broncos. Like it could be a feisty game. Like it was feisty even against Ravens like for a while. So and like Chiefs are definitely not something special. So we'll see. Like something special in terms of like this is definitely not the best version of the Chiefs, and that's scary because they are still at 10-0, right? Saints versus Falcons. I mean, I was thinking about like saying something about Dennis Allen, and at this point I'm like, no, I just don't want to kick into him. Like Saints, you knew from preseason, like I absolutely hate the way this team is built, the way they handle finances, and for 2 weeks I was like, oh, maybe they knew something. Well, they didn't. They just got a little bit lucky with a draw and really facing bad teams, because Cowboys are actually a bad team. So 3 words for this game: no pass rush. Both teams are like terrible in terms of generating pressure on a QB, and maybe that gets something somewhat better from the Saints because like they want to show up for, let's say, new interim head coach or whatever. But I think their season is kind of done, and like obviously is kind of done. I'm just not seeing spark. Like when you cannot show up for a game in which Drew Brees is getting introduced to your Hall of Fame, I'm like, how should I expect you to tune up this game? Like I don't know. And for Falcons, like they're probably going to win this game, right? But I still like one of the worst units in their team, or like probably definitely the worst unit is their D-line. Don't have some names, but it's just like Matthew Judon has been really underperforming my expectations, and it just doesn't generate pretty much any pressure on QB. So we will see. It could be an interesting game because like Derek Carr, when he's comfortable, he can have good games. Though without Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, yeah, I mean, Bucks versus 49ers, and this one is actually like a weird reference, and it says now blame Todd. And why I say it's a weird reference, because it's a reference to one of the episodes that I was not able to record. I had like a free word for one of the Bucks games. It was post Chris Goodwin injury, and there was a lot of blame for Todd Bowles that he got injured in a meaningless time of that game that they should give up. And I'm like, no. Like first of all, at that position, I didn't see teams giving up. Like I do understand why it might be a smart decision with the injuries in it, but I have not seen that. I have not seen that at home, especially. And from everything I heard, the whole team wanted to fight. You would just screw yourself in front of your team major way. So I absolutely was against that blame, against that hate, and that Chris Godwin injuries was like, even like the defense is not playing necessarily like they want to injure you. Like I would understand it much more in like rivalry game that is going ugly, like there is some dirty hits. I would understand that. It was not that case. So yeah, it's super unfortunate for Chris Godwin to get injured in a game that you have like 0.1% chance to win that game at that point. I do understand it, but that's sort of injury that it can happen every freaking time. So like blaming the balls for that, I was majorly against that, and I still am. But what the hell was the management against the Chiefs? First of all, taking a timeout with like 33 seconds on the clock when you just got 1st and 1. Absolutely shit call. Absolutely shit call. You just go to the line, and with about 18 seconds on the clock, which is absolutely enough that you can settle everything, be calm down. I think with 18 seconds on the clock, you snap the ball, you probably hand it to running back, and if you get touchdown, there's 14 seconds on the clock. Good luck, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it still could be a lot of time for him, but good luck. If you don't get it, you take a timeout, and you have 2nd and 1. You have about 13 seconds and no timeout. So you have definitely time to scheme up 2 passing plays for 2nd and 3rd down. Anytime you score a touchdown, the same approach, like good luck to Patrick with 7 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever. And then you have like 3 seconds on the clock for last play, then it's 4th down and goal, and you can do whatever because it's the last play of the game, right? So that's how you do it. That's absolutely easy. That's like one-on-one. Every analytic would say I mean, I'm not a coach, but this is super freaking easy. And the fact that you don't understand that is just mind-boggling. You know, like if there was like if Baker got, you know, hurt or whatever, I would have, but that was just a horrendous call. Absolutely horrendous call. And then you make a decision to not, you score a touchdown on the next play, and then you make a decision to not go for 2. And that's another absolutely horrendous call. Absolutely horrendous call. Because like you are on the road, you have shit ton of injuries, and you are facing a team that is 7-0. That is usually lucky with the coin flip, just saying. No. So for the game, you were like 70-30 underdog. So for an overtime, you're like 60-48 underdogs in terms of percentage. 2-point conversion, let's say it has about 50-50. So do you want to go for 2 points if it makes you win? Or do you want to go overtime 50 or 38%? What is a better play? Yeah, it's 50%, obviously. Another thing is, and then like, now that taking a timeout actually kind of makes this decision less worse, because there is obviously still a time, because now the 2-point conversion, even if you do it, it doesn't win you the game, because there is still 30 seconds on the clock. I'm sorry, kids are fighting. There's still 30 seconds on the clock, and if you know you are down by 1, as Chiefs would be, you can obviously risk much more than if it's like an equal game where like you still want to go for 3, but yeah, you don't want to like make a stupid interception, fumble a ball, go for 4th. Everything like that is allowed or is like necessary when you are down 1. So that makes the decision slightly, like your previous super bad decision makes this super bad decision slightly less super bad decision, but it's still super bad decision. And one thing is like, yeah, you can say like, you know, they can like risk more, but at the same time, you can still kick an outside kick if you don't score on the 2-point conversion. So it's not like you automatically lost the game, like you most likely lost the game, like it's like 97%, but you still have 3%. And I would say that 3% kind of equals out the fact that they can play more aggressive if they know it's not an equal game and they are down by 1. So horrendous decision making, and I think now you should blame Todd, absolutely. And this is kind of the decision making that, despite this team, like they look good, but I'm actually like, I would put the Bulls on a hot seat because, and I know it sounds a little bit crazy because they won the division last year, they won a playoff game, and this year they were good, but then they got injured. Yes, all true. But what type of division they won? Come on. that's absolutely shittiest division for 2 years in a row. That's like, yeah, it might be worse this year. You know, despite Falcons are better because Saints are like, what the fuck are you doing, cat? Because Saints are just incrementally worse, and Panthers like kind of like, you know, maybe they are slightly better, but they are still shit. So that's the type of division we won. And the Eagles you've beaten playoffs is like, yeah, that was really bad team. So I do understand from like win-loss perspective, it doesn't look bad, and then you can make, you know, calls that, you know, they got injured, and because of that they kind of threw the season. But I still think like this, especially this decision making and the fact that the defense is not playing up to the standard, and I mean they had injuries, but who didn't? There are still really good names on the defense, and Todd Bowles is obviously defensive-minded head coach. I would actually have him on the hot seat. So now blame Todd, and we will see about this one. Lex, you are playing back-to-back Super Bowl appearance teams in Chiefs and 49ers, so it's a really big test for the Bucs, especially 49ers after a bye. We'll see. Commanders versus Steelers. To me, this is a fight between new and established. Washington, new head coach, kind of a new ownership, with new quarterback, new OC, kind of new DC, new regime. Everything is new, everything is fresh, and everything is funny right now. Like Washington is absolutely a funny team. For like for the first time in like 20 years, people actually want to come and play for Washington. You know, we've heard a lot of buzz at trade deadline at players. So yeah, Washington, yeah, I want to go. Right. On the other side, you have Steelers, Mike Tomlin, 20 years, Russell was like 14th season in the NFL. We know the style, we know what they are all about. So this is pretty much the fight between these two universes, and one, like to me, this is sneakily one of the games I'm most excited about this week. Chargers versus Titans, to me, another business day. Like I think Chargers are just like better in pretty much everything. Better coached, better QB, better O-line, better D-line, you know, better culture. Everything's better, like it's reflected in the odds. So like Titans would have to have kind of like a miracle day to win this one, and it should just be kind of boring. I would probably say low scoring game. Chargers just will take care of this one. Probably. Cardinals versus Jets, over versus underperforming. I mean, it's easy. With Cardinals, we knew they might be quite exciting offensively, and they are. But their defense is actually the story, because there is not much talent in the defense, there really isn't. And they are playing really well for the talent they have. So the fact that they are winning their division as of right now, they have a positive record, they beat some good teams like Chargers. Yeah, to me they are definitely overperforming, and like that Jonathan Gannon guy, that hire from last year, like they're building something that I'm not sure that it has like making of Super Bowl juggernaut or whatever. I think Kyler Murray is like on the edge of the guys. Like he's really good, but is he really good to be paid top quarterbacks money? If you want to win a Super Bowl, I would say probably not, unless they really figure out everything beside him. And you know, like their major pick in Marvin Harrison was like kind of, it didn't necessarily click the way we wanted. On the other side, just underperforming. Like that's. Is there anything to add? I mean, yeah, they have in the bag must-win game against the Texans. I would say this is another must-win for them. And they, given the state of the conference, they still have, I think, a good chance to make playoffs. And with their experience, they could be a team that you don't want to face in playoffs. But do I trust them in terms of consistency? Well, I need to see it before I trust it at this point. Like that's just for me. Cowboys versus Eagles, being held back is how I see this game. On one side, being held back for the Cowboys, I mean, ownership, I guess. I mean, what are we doing? Like, we are going all in. We don't bring anyone. We know what is our major flaw. We don't address it. And then when our season is when our season is effed, we are doing we are sending away 4th round pick for Jonathan Mingo. I mean, like, in terms of value of the pick, this is the second highest value any team has paid on the trade deadline. For, I don't know, like arguably the worst player that has been traded in the trade deadline. In a season that you are not doing anything, like, you probably won't even see him play with Dak Prescott more than like 2 games, 3 games perhaps. What are we doing, Cowboys? Like, this just feels so goddamn awful. And on the other side, Eagles, I mean, yeah, that might sound surprising that I am saying that they are being held back. But boy oh boy, I just, like Nick Sirianni, like those antics, those decisions with 2-point conversions, I mean, like, I don't know. I think that this team, with a better head coach, like if they had Lions coaching staff, if they had Chiefs coaching staff, I think they could be a legit Super Bowl contender. As of right now, what holds me back from putting them into the tier, I think it's Nick Sirianni. I think Vic Fangio on the defense, yeah, I think that works, but Nick Sirianni, yeah, I'm kind of done with this. Like, I don't mind, like, I like coaches being authentic, but kind of in like Dan Gamble way rather than in Nick Sirianni way, which, like, I don't know whether it just doesn't feel natural, doesn't feel smart in a way, feels like way too negative. I don't know, like, it feels like Eagles could be Super Bowl contender with a better head coach in my opinion. Texans versus Lions, hero versus machine. They will need hero performance from CJ Stroud, from, let's say, Will Anderson, from some other guys against this well freaking oiled machine. Like, they just went into bad weather at Packers. It just wasn't the game. Like, they, like first 15 minutes perhaps it was a game. They didn't have Jameson Williams because he just doesn't cannot stay out of trouble, it seems like. But they just absolutely dominated. To me, they are the best team in football right now. And I actually don't think it's that close. That offensive line, insane. I mean, yeah, what is there not to like about Lions? Obviously, their pass rush. They tried to figure it out with Preston Smith, I think. Like, one of the Smith brothers came on trade deadline, who's pretty much designated pass rusher at this part of his career, or like in his mind he always was. And yeah, I think Lions are really, really dangerous, but I understand why Chiefs are more favorite because, well, they have grasp on the division. They pretty much, I would not say they are lock number 1 team, but yeah, they are most likely going to have a bye. With Lions in tougher conference, much tougher division, it's definitely not certain thing. Rams versus Dolphins, I believe it's the last game we have. To me, it's all about offenses being finally healthy. I mean, it's like dead night to watch this offense run by Tua and not run by Tua. And like, I still think that giving him a station was a mistake. But the thing is, he absolutely elevates that system. He absolutely elevates Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Like, it's match. It's not like he's that good because of them. Like, obviously they make him look better, but it works. It's not like one-sided relationship. For the Rams, the offensive line are getting slightly healthier, I would say really slightly, and obviously Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua being back is a huge deal for the Rams. Should be a fun one. Both teams kind of need this win to stay afloat, to keep the season with a good chances of making playoffs. Obviously, the Dolphins are in a much worse situation, but still, there are hopes. So it could be a fun one. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that one. I will repeat, if you can leave a like, if you can leave a comment, it's very much appreciated. It will help me tremendously. See you with the next one and enjoy this week's games.